In James chapter 5, the subject is money, and the concern is this. James feels like many in the church are laying up treasure for themselves, and they're not laying up treasure for God. In other words, they are rich towards themselves, but they're not rich towards God. He even says it a little bit differently in the latter part of James chapter 5, when he says that they're using their resources for self-indulgence. Now, he's asking them to weep and mourn for the miseries that have come upon you. Now, listen, money can't bring you joy and can't bring you contentment and bring you happiness. Only Christ can. And if you find yourself as one who has been entrusted with resources, you need to be asking the question, am I using God's resources, which He's entrusted to me, to build His kingdom on this earth, or am I using God's resources, which He's entrusted to me, to build my empire? Once God puts His Spirit within us, He gives us a different idea towards money. He gives us a different perspective towards money. He gives us different goals and ambitions towards money. Now, rather than building something for ourselves, we recognize that we have been called to reach this world for Christ, and many times He gives some the resources to do just that. Jesus said it this way in Matthew 6:19. He says, "Do not lay up for yourselves treasures on earth where moth and rust destroy, where thieves break in and steal, but lay up for yourselves treasures in heaven, where neither moth nor rust destroys and where thieves cannot break in and steal. For where your treasure is, there will your heart be also." Jesus is saying, do not use the money that God gives you to build a kingdom or to store up treasures for yourself, but use those resources for His glory. And then He says that where your treasure is, there will your heart be also. This is the principle. Your heart always follows your wallet. In other words, if you are heavily invested in a particular stock, then your heart is going to be sold out to that stock. But if you are heavily invested into the mission field or into the church in the kingdom of God, then your heart is going to be sold out to whatever that is. Where your treasure is, there will your heart be also. Let me ask you a question. If where your treasure is, there will your heart be. If your heart always follows your wallet, where's your heart right now as I speak?